It's Monday, 26th July 2021. Good evening. Welcome to NEWSNIGHT on Metro Television. We're live from our studios here on Dr. Iset Street, Northridge in Accra. Live on DSTV channel 277 and live on all social media handles at Metro TV GH. My name is Noble Crosby.
And I am Efia Fosa. Coming up in the next 60 minutes. The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Boaje, urges the media to use their platform to advocate for vaccines. As President Akufo-Addo confirms, Ghana is experiencing a third wave of COVID-19.
Also in this bulletin, Speaker of Parliament Alban Gbagben assures that the House of Legislature will not frustrate the executive in the delivery of its mandate, but will rather work together with all other arms of government for the interest of Ghanaians.
And also in business, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana maintains key lending rate to commercial banks at 13.5%.
In sports, Ghana athletics team ready for the competition at the 2020 Olympic Games. This is according to head coach Andrew Owusu.
And later on the international front, kidnappers who raided a boarding school in northern Nigeria early this month released 28 children as 81 more remain in captivity. Details of these stories and many more coming up in the next hour. Do stay.
Hello and welcome to the program. Our first story this evening. Dr. Patrick Boaje, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, has admonished the media to champion the cause of Ghana's vaccination exercise by calling on international agencies to support the country with vaccines. Dr. Patrick Boaje noted vaccine nationalism has contributed greatly to Ghana's seemingly slow vaccination drive. We're speaking with Sandro Fosu Dewonu on Good Afternoon, Ghana.
Well, I mean, we are all worried. We have a higher number of cases across the country. People are sick. Yes, we are all worried. But that's the more reason why we must all join together and make sure that we do all the preventive measures that will not take us into a stage where our ICU beds are full. If we don't do the right things, no matter how many ICU beds you have, it will be full. And all your beds will be full. And you have seen it happen in many of the most advanced countries. With all who has all the resources, and so basically that's what we are talking about. So we all have that. We all have a role to play in ensuring that we don't get to where we don't want to get. But I always keep saying that the media also has a role, and I'll keep saying it. You have an idea. I'm sure you are very clear about the challenges globally we have for getting vaccines, especially for countries like ours. I see foreign media advocating for support for Africa and other countries to get vaccines. But we don't see that coming from our media. And I think that's before I answer the question, that's a role that the media must also start playing, an advocacy role. We know the challenges we have. We can only tell you exactly what, for example, COVAX or whoever is supplying us tell us. That will get you maybe by the end of the month. But like the president selected by middle of August, we should be able to get some Pfizer and AstraZeneca for distribution. But as soon as, just like we normally do, as soon as we have a very indicative date that is coming, we will be put out there and everybody.
Still on COVID-19, the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, Benjamin Kwame Botwe, has added his voice to the need for sectorial collaboration between government agencies, pharmaceutical companies and the Veterinary Services Department, all geared towards enabling Ghana produce its own vaccine against COVID-19 as well as other diseases. He was speaking on Good Afternoon Ghana on conquering the third wave of COVID-19 in the country.
It begins with what research information is available. that would form the basis for whatever production to go on. Obviously, there's the need for that level of collaboration, and maybe as the discussion goes on, we may be talking about cross-sectoral and intersectoral collaborations in this matter. In my first statement, I began with the issue of research, and I believe the veterinary services started with a lot of research, and maybe research geared towards mainly veterinary vaccination. But it can be done. I mean, it is possible, and I think the other researchers who come on board would be in a position to assist in this. But I would say that I do not know the volumes that are being produced at the moment,
okay,
and whether they are any so if there's nothing like that, then collaboration with industry, the big pharma, pharmaceutical manufacturing industries can lead to that type of scale up that you would expect in this process.
Away from that story, Speaker of Parliament Alban Gbagben says the ongoing revision of Parliament standing orders and the adoption of the private members' motion is geared towards promoting participatory democracy and bringing the activities of Parliament closer to Guineans. He further stressed that the House of Legislature will not frustrate government business, but rather make viable inputs to inform policy decisions. The Speaker made the pronouncement during a ceremony to confer on him the coveted award of Member of Parliament for the decade by the Millennium Excellence Foundation under the life patronage of His Majesty Otumfuo Sekyitu II.
Ghanaians expect to reap from the democratic dividends. Ghanaians expect of him, as he has assured, and Mr. Speaker, I paraphrase his word, and probably why Nana Adudankwa found comfort in saying, I'm lucky. When Speaker Gbagben says, and Mr. Speaker, I associate myself with it, that Parliament will not work to frustrate the executive. I associate myself with it. But Parliament will demand greater accountability and transparency, that the good of the Ghanaian people are better served under his leadership as Speaker of Parliament. It can be better to strengthen Parliament, to give confidence to the electorate, to give confidence to those stakeholders who are interested in the democracy of Ghana. And Mr. Speaker, I must say that for the opportunity given to your delegation in ECOWAS sub-region, ECOWAS Parliament, it is clear that Ghana has really gone far. Ghana has really gone far. The time has come through Parliament for us to fortify that which we have gained so that we can move on.
Parliament will not work to frustrate the business of the executive. As a fact, immediately after my election as Speaker of Parliament, through the initiative of the President, I have built a healthy and fruitful working relations with His Excellency Nana Adudankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana. I have also reached out to the Chief Justice, and I'm happy with the harmonious working relationship we have established between the legislature and the judiciary. Through the collaborative work of the leadership and your good self, the revised standing orders is before the House to provide further avenues for public Parliament engagement.
The Attorney General, who doubles as a Minister of Justice, Godfrey Dame, has touted the soon-to-be-launched Integrated Information Management System as a one-stop shop expected to curb data sharing and management-related issues that confront justice delivery. According to him, the management system is in 2 dimensions and it will help promote a proper assessment of data to replace the manual way of handling documents. There's more in the following report filed by Metro News' Elvis Ando.
Data is very important in the justice delivery system, and a lot relies on how safe client information is handled. The Integrated Information Management System, with its modus operandi in 2 ways, case management and document management, is expected to solve all issues about data management, sharing and storage. Addressing the participants at the training workshop, the Solicitor General, Helen Akpene Awo Ziwu, spoke on the importance of the management system.
We are here for a go-live session involving all the super users, all the change agents, the registry staff that have been set up on the system. This will involve a hands-on practice of the system. And we are looking at the day a case is filed or submitted to the office all the way to the end of the case, or a petition is submitted all the way through 8 processes until an advice is issued.
The Attorney General, Godfrey Dame, touted how the system, when put in full use, will help data management by replacing the manual process.
This exercise will help us in identifying the relevant challenges to the system that has been developed, and will also help us properly assess the efficiency of the systems. I will urge all of you to participate fully and ensure that we'll be able to properly assimilate what the system represents, so that we'll be able to further impact the technology to others.
Tony Ntiado is a developer of the Integrated Information Management System.
For us, it's exciting to us that the Attorney General is taking this project much more seriously than we have seen most other government agencies want to jump on board. And it is our desire as a company to be able to help the government achieve their digitalization drive.
Some participants shared their excitement with the new system and how it will be beneficial to their work.
With the IIMS system, it would be typed, so you can easily see what the instructions are. And of course, time would also be saved.
You need to practice it. So once that's been introduced, you can see many ask the questions. But I believe when they are introduced to it and they start working with it, those questions that they have will be solved in the system.
The 2-day training program, which is a collaboration between the Government of Ghana under the auspices of the Ministry of Communication and Digitalization, as well as the World Bank, is to equip participants on how to manage the software for easy rollout across the country.
This is NEWSNIGHT on Metro Television. We're also live on DSTV channel 277. Let's go for a quick break. We're back with more stories. Stay with us.
Obia says AC. Tresse, it will gold-plated things. Yeah, the copper pipes pa pebi na ye. Gas ya emfa or how biam roda sanibia enegum. Enye dede. Tanso wa 4-in-1 filter system. 80 from a free mobano. Eye kroje. AC, yeah the horsepower neto. Hisense kase eye 2.5. Eye 2.5. Kululu pianim. Yeah the abepiemo. Eye Hisense AC super promo. Date near 26 July. Akobim 8 August. 2021. Upe Asia Efe. Na eche. Na chili. Na entry power. Eye Hisense AC. Comfort to yemi. 26th July. Akobim 8 August. Madam Hisense. Matiti Suse. Who? 5 years warranty. Adasutia. Hisense and Kwane to me yes amount. Hisense. Everyday prices for everyday people.
The search for a reliable partner in dealing with your U-turn bus needs has been made easier and convenient with SA Automobile. SE Automobile, formerly U-Turn Ghana Limited, has been in the business of offering quality U-Turn product and services at competitive rates. At SE Automobile, our team of expert staff, management, engineers, and mechanics professionally deal in the sale of U-Turn buses, genuine spare parts, its repairs and maintenance at a highly effective workshop with remarkable speed. We also have available the sale of Camel car batteries, Weichai and Kia spare parts, Zonton coaches and light-duty vehicles for everyday movement. Contact us on 020-000-0831 or 054-555-7500. You can also email us info@seautomobilegh.com or visit our website at www.seautomobilegh.com. SA Automobile, the pleasure of doing business with you is all ours.
Hello, welcome back to NEWSNIGHT. Let's bring you more stories. Professor Nana Aba Appiah-Ampho has been appointed to act as Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana. Now, the appointment of the 49-year-old takes effect from August 1, 2021, until appointment, which is a decision by the institution's newly constituted Governing Council, chaired by former Chief Justice Ofaye Kufu. Professor Ampho was the Pro-Vice Chancellor in charge of Academic and Student Affairs at the University of Ghana.
Should Professor Ampho be confirmed, she would be the youngest so far, as well as the first female vice-chancellor in the history of the premier university. A statement from the school's registrar stated that she will be in an acting position following the expiration on July 31, 2021 of the tenure of the current vice-chancellor, Professor Ebenezer Oduro-Wusu. Professor Appiah-Ampho will be in that role until such a time the University Council appoints a substantive vice-chancellor. The statement added that the Council considered Section 10, Clause 2B of the University of Ghana 2010 and Section 6, Clause 3 of the University of Ghana and decided on the appointment of the senior of the two pro-vice chancellors to act. Professor Nana Aba Appiah-Ampho is an alumna of the University of Ghana. She had her secondary education at Holy Child School and Archbishop Potter Girls Secondary School and proceeded to the University of Ghana from 1991 to 1996 for a bachelor's degree in French and Linguistics. Both her MPhil 2001 and PhD 2007 degrees in linguistics are from the Norwegian University of Science and Technology in Norway. Professor Ampho has received additional training in higher education management and leadership from Harvard Business School, University of Applied Sciences, Germany, and INSEAD, France. Professor Ampho's career in academia started in 2001 as a lecturer in the Department of Linguistics, was promoted senior lecturer in 2007, associate professor in 2011, and professor in 2017. Her research interests are in the linguistic subdiscipline of pragmatics, which allows her to explore the role that context plays in our conversational interactions and how that influences communication in different domains.
To other stories, the Director General of State Interest and Governance Authority, Stephen Asamoah-Boateng, known in political circles as Asabi, has revealed that he is lacing his boots to become the next national chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Touting himself as a grassroots man, Stephen Asamoah-Boateng says the current crop of party executives have lost touch with the ordinary party members and have given the nod he will mend the cracks and ensure that the New Patriotic Party secures a third-time victory in 2024.
Stephen Asamoah-Boateng, rumor has it that he is going to vie for the chairmanship position of the party. How true is that?
It's true, but it's not the official announcement yet, and the party has not given us the green light to do that. But it is true to the extent that I've had some discussion, or some party people have been to me. We've had a very good discussion because I know the party inside out. Being a Democrat is in my genes. The difficulty we've had is that as we moved along, sometimes you go into government, some forget that they have a party to run. The party is getting disconnected from the executive. If you don't have a party group that believes in what the executive do, or they don't propagate it, who is going to do that for you?
So you believe this current crop of executives?
There is the current crop of executives. There are question marks, but that is they have to account for what they've done. But I need an improvement rather than get stuck into who did what, who didn't do what. What I'm interested in is to organizing this party, NPP, as a preferred party of choice by Ghanaians, which is poised always to win an election. Because we need a fighting and winnable party machinery. But once the party, and you need somebody who is a grassroots person, who understands the work of a service to people, and who also have the humility to respond to demands of the party people and bring them on board to work with the government. Because you need to bridge that gap. There's some distinct disconnect. We can see that, and I can see that. What I'm going to do.
So Asabi is going to help the NPP break the 8, is that it? Should he get
that should be it. I mean, Mr. President Akufo-Addo has been doing fantastic work. I remember when I was a minister with President Kufuor, we lost 2008, and most of the things we did were destroyed. I mean, basically, health insurance was destroyed. The economy was brought down again. Even when we found oil before we left, the whole economy was brought down. So President Akufo-Addo's legacy must be maintained, and I intend to make sure it happens, and to hand over the vision that he has is the same I have, to hand over to another MPP president.
Who would be your ideal presidential candidate?
That is something the party will decide, not me. I am ready to work with the party and get the party structure right. Get the organizers. These are the key people in the party. The organizers, they go down. And then the party secretary, what is their relationship to the government? So that the government's communication can be articulated well. Those are some symbolic, very key structural things that I need to do. And then behind that, get the motivation right. Employment. People are struggling to have employment. Sometimes even telephone calls, even consoling somebody. The human face sometimes is missing. When you're in government, you are so busy, you are not listening to people. We will sit down, organize the party well. Whoever wants to lead this party as a presidential candidate, let him come and talk his business. We will listen. But the party...
It's now time to bring you the very latest in business, and Winston is standing by. Hello, Winston.
Hello, Fia.
What's the latest?
In business, the ranking members of parliament, that is on the minority side, have been speaking on Ghana's debt profile and some business stories, as well as update from the forex and commodities market. Stay tuned for more. And now to our first business story. President Akufo-Addo has charged members of state-owned enterprises to expand their scope of operation to enable them operate profitably. As at the end of 2019, figures from the Finance Ministry revealed that Ghana recorded an accrued net loss of over 500 million cedis due to non-profitability of state-owned enterprises. The president was therefore worried that the continuous underperformance of public enterprises, if not tackled, will further derail government attempt to improve the economy. He spoke at the annual performance signing ceremony for specified entities for this year.
In 2019, government created the State Interest and Governance Authority to regulate the activities of government-owned companies. The authority, therefore, through its annual performance contract, is able to ensure that state enterprises live up to expectation. At this year's performance signing ceremony on Monday, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta revealed that about 47 companies have since 2016 failed to submit their financial statement to the ministry as prescribed by law.
Unfortunately, despite overall national progress, the story of the suboptimal performance of state enterprises still rings true today. As of the end of 2019, an aggregate net loss of 586.49 million Ghana cedis was recorded in the SOE sector. This compares to a loss position of 188.9 million Ghana cedis in 2018. Indeed, between 2015 and 2019, SOEs have consistently posted negative operating margins, an average of around 10%, suggesting that generally operating expenses across our state enterprises are rising faster than revenues.
President Akufo-Addo urged leaders of the public entities to work to restore their organization to profit-making ventures.
I'm hopeful that by the end of each fiscal year, every specified entity that has signed this compact with government will be able to achieve these objectives. You must also focus on your supply chain activities by involving Ghanaian entrepreneurs to spur the micro, small and medium-scale enterprises MSME sector in order for more and more young people to be employed. If we can do this continuously for 5 years, imagine the number of lives we will be impacting.
Joseph Kujo is Minister for Public Enterprises.
With this annual performance signing contract, which became something like a ritual in the sense of they go sign and it doesn't really mean a lot. The targets and the indicators that are set in do not undergo rigorous monitoring and evaluation and reviews to make sure that the desired results are achieved. This time,
Meanwhile, Director General of the State Enterprises and Governance Authority, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, says his outfit is undertaking a review of all public enterprises and will soon make a determination on those that should be handed over to private individuals or listed on the stock exchange.
Most of the areas they talked about are accumulated ones which preceded even this government. And there are overhangs. For instance, the issue of ECG bills or debt is an issue of some of us Ghanaians ourselves not paying the bill. Some are doing illegal connections everywhere. So the problem also, they have not been able to institute a proper collection system. And that's why also it drove the government to go along with the PDS deal. But we have not lost sight of the fact that that private sector participation that we started with PDS coming in, that concept or the principle is still relevant. So we're going to go down that route again. That will then begin to bring in the revenue, and then we begin to clear the arrears. But of course, one other area is that the government itself, as a shareholder, must begin to recapitalize some of them. If the government cannot recapitalize itself because we don't have the resources, then let's get private sector participation and do a joint venture so that they can bring in the capital. So we've classified some of the entities into where government must hold for some reason security and essential services. Then there are those that we don't have the money, but private sector can bring in money, can also bring in the expertise. Then we do joint venture. Then there are those that we have to sell completely through the stock exchange. So we are working with the Ghana Stock Exchange and identify some of the entities. We've already identified 8 of them, and we begin to go to float them on the stock exchange. Ghanaians can also buy into it. And then with the private participation, they'll be put on their toes as well.
Now, in other news, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has kept its key lending rates to commercial banks at 13.5%. This is due to the third wave of COVID-19, high budget deficit due to revenue underperformance, as well as the balance of risks to inflation and growth, among others.
The MPC had cut the policy rate for the first time in over a year to 13.5% in May 2021. According to the Bank of Ghana, developments in interest rates broadly showed a downward trend across the yield curve. The 91-day and 182-day Treasury bill rates declined to 12.7% and 13.4% respectively in June 2021, from about 14.0% for both instruments in June 2020. Similarly, the rates on the 364-day instrument decreased marginally to 16.3% from 16.9% over the same comparative period. Rates on all the medium to long-term instruments generally declined over the review period. The weighted average interbank rate declined to 12.9% in June 2021 from 13.8% a year earlier, consistent with a reduction in the monetary policy rate in May 2021 and supported by improved liquidity conditions on the interbank market. In a similar trend, the average bank lending rate declined marginally to 20.6% in June 2021 from about 22.0% in the corresponding period of 2020.
Minority ranking member on Parliament Finance Committee says Akufo-Addo government is responsible for 60% of the country's current public debt if data gathered up to the end of 2020 were to be used. Speaking at the first edition of Policy Dialogues on the Economy, organized by the minority at the University of Professional Studies, Accra, Dr. Keso Atto-Forson said out of Ghana's public debt, 291 billion Ghana cedis as of December 2020. President Akufo-Addo's tenure account for 171.22 billion Ghana cedis, representing 60%.
Key speaker at the Policy Dialogue on the Economy was the minority ranking member on the Parliamentary Finance Committee, Dr. Keso Atto-Forson. Fiejimako Enyan Isiam, Member of Parliament. He explained that the country's current debt position was unsustainable and requires urgent attention.
The main causes of current hardships are the twin problems of the largest budget deficit, the mother of all fiscal deficit of 15.2% of GDP in recent history, and a choking debt overhang that threatens the stability of the Ghanaian economy. Sadly, instead of confronting the problems head-on, attempts have been made by the President Akufo-Addo and Bawumia government to shift the blame to the COVID-19 pandemic. But I will demonstrate shortly through a data-based presentation that the hardships that we face arising out of the largest fiscal deficit in recent history and the debt situation that we face is a direct result of mismanagement and obviously misplaced populism, as we've seen in the last couple of years.
Dr. Forson cautioned that unless far-reaching measures were introduced, Ghana would be considered a heavily indebted country in no time.
Sustainability ratios portrays a worrying picture of the sustainability of Ghana's debt and should be of great concern to Ghanaians. The IMF Debt Sustainability Analysis, the DSA, in the year 2019, and this is before COVID-19, put Ghana at a high risk of debt distress, and this is before COVID-19. This is before COVID-19. The situation by the end of the year 2020 certainly will worsen. But my worry is, using the programmed loans that this government intends to borrow in the year 2021, the situation is certainly going to deteriorate.
Minority leader Haruna Idrisu called for a complete audit of all COVID-19 related expenses by the government.
The minority is demanding a comprehensive audit of all COVID-related expenditure in the country, including and adding on to the 21 billion that was spent prior to the elections.
The National Democratic Congress Ranking Members Policy Dialogue on the Economy brought together some party members, economics, academics, and policymakers to dialogue on the state of Ghana's economy with focus on Ghana's debt profile.
Now moving to labor, organized labor has justified why it agreed on 4% increase in base pay for public sector workers. The Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Dr. Yao Ban, said economic challenges affected by the COVID-19 pandemic was a contributing factor, hence the need to accept the increase on conditions.
In the agreement period 2021-2022, government shall not declare any public sector worker redundant. All the over 700,000 public sector workers will keep their jobs no matter the state of the economy and government finances over the agreement period. That government shall not freeze employment in the public service. This means government will continue to employ workers into the public service. That all workers will be vaccinated against COVID-19 during the agreement period, and that government will pay social security contributions, here with special reference to the second-tier contributions, regularly. Ongoing discussions on various social media platforms indicate clearly that workers are understandably unhappy with the outcome of the negotiations. We here, as your leaders, are not happy either. But we settled on the relatively low rates of increments reluctantly after intense negotiations spanning many meetings and many weeks.
We're all aware of the effects of COVID-19 on our economy. We're all aware of it. We have a situation where even in the private sector, workers have been laid off. Some have now been given 50% salaries. We're all aware of these complications. And to be honest with you, this is not the first time that Labour has agreed to something like this. In 2015, after we were coming out of an economic woes, we agreed to a 3% salary increase. So this is not the first time. It's a negotiation. And we must also look at the economic situation. Having workers still to be in employment, where in our sister countries, public servants have been laid off. But here you have your work, and you are being paid. In situations, we stayed in the house, we were not working, but we were paid. We have to be realistic. And we think, to the best of our knowledge, we've done the best.
Now we'll bring you the forex and commodities and how the cedi is performing against major currencies and as the prices of various commodities are performing on the global market. Up next is forex and commodities. That's it for business here on Newsnight. My name is Winston Taki Crosby, and if you are standing by for the rest of the story.
Winston, thanks so much for bringing us business. This is Newsnight. We're back with more stories after the break.
Did you know that cloth handkerchief gets dirty and wet after wiping your sweat or blowing your nose with it? Keeping a dirty handkerchief in your pocket or bag is very unhygienic. Reusing it increases your chances of getting sick from germs. That is why I always use Flora disposable handkerchief. Flora disposable handkerchiefs is disposable, thus making it a more hygienic option. It's thick and very absorbent. With 10 tissues in a pack, Flora disposable handkerchief is better than a cloth handkerchief. The Flora toilet roll, Flora multi-purpose paper towels, Flora table napkins, and Flora box tissues in a shop near you. For both purchases, call Delta Paper Mail on 0243 033 033.
In Ghana and in Africa, there is only one place to look to get that luxurious design and decor for your offices and homes. Visit Jamila Home. We give you the climax of luxury wherever you find yourself. Presidential and executive office furniture, living room sets, dining set, stunning mirrors, adorable wallpapers, lovely king and queen size beds, valuable antiques and antique goods, beautiful chandeliers and more. Into the bargain, we provide caring customer service, prompt delivery service, skilled and artistic full house design and decor services, and free decor ideas for your space. Our products and service is unparalleled, boasting of top-tier clients all over the globe. Jamila Home, home of first-class quality furniture, beautiful chandeliers, and antiques.
You're welcome to the broadcast. Sports News is up next. Phil John Cote is standing by to bring us the very latest. Phil, what's coming up?
Well, thank you very much, my brother. We'll be focusing on the 2020 Olympic Games currently going on in Tokyo. Up next. Sports. Welcome back. My name is Phil Jonokote. We are starting in Tokyo. Coach of Ghana's athletics team in the ongoing Olympic Games, Dr. Andrew Owusu, says that the team is sufficiently prepared for the athletics programs.
My name is Andrew Owusu, and I'm one of the 2 coaches for Ghana Athletics. Here with our team, minus Nadia. Nadia is currently at the physio. She had an appointment. So I think the guys are ready. They've worked hard to get to this stage, and so as we put together our final preparations, we ask that Ghanaians support and ask for lots of prayers. And they are ready to I think, do as well.
That is the head of Ghana's athletic team in the ongoing Olympic Games in Tokyo, Dr. Andrew Owusu, still talking about the Olympic Games. The Director General of the National Sports Authority, Professor Patrick Chumesi, has assured Team Ghana of Ghana's support, saying that they'll be rewarded should they win medals.
After such catastrophic events like this, we normally see the games being cancelled. This particular time, the world managed to postpone it. And I think we see all the edifices that are here. I think we wouldn't have been able to sacrifice all these for the sake of coronavirus. Our efforts strive to be able to really get this particular game to come off, though in 2021, although we call it Olympics 2020, shows that the world has overcome this particular virus that is ravaging. It's a victory for the whole world. It is a victory for the whole world, and for that matter, a victory for all athletes, and a victory for Ghana, for that matter, and Africa. So we are very grateful. But why are we here? We know we have qualified. We know we have won medals at various competition levels to get to where we are now. But the bigger prize is ahead of us. One of you will receive the package that has been approved, presented by the GOC, and have been approved by the minister. And that is what is being brought to you. So do not worry about funds and we'll get it or not. I must thank Mr. Agri that even some of the funds that they were giving him for other things, he realized that there will be a need for you to also be giving something to cater for some other matters personally, and he did so. The remainder of the monies and his are all coming, and every one of them. This one also includes also the coaches, every one of you. This one that our budgets just for Tokyo is not what we are aiming at.
We are still staying in the Japanese capital for the Olympic Games, and the captain of Ghana's boxing team, Sulemana Tete, has qualified for the 116th stage of the boxing. He defeated a gentleman from Dominican Republic by name Mateo de Souza de Rocha.
勝者はスプリットディシジョンにより青コーナーガーナテッテ・スレマン。
Sulemana Tete is the captain of Ghana's boxing team known as the Black Bombers, qualifying for the next stage of the competition in Tokyo. And just before we wrap up the sports segment of the news, fans in Tokyo are being told to stay away from the streets due to COVID-19.
Hundreds of fans lined the streets of those competitions in the opening days of the Olympics, cheering on athletes despite officials telling them not to do so.
Yeah, we can consider that it's one of those proofs that the Japanese people are passionate about these Olympic Games. But in the meantime, we have been saying that we are requesting
to the stadiums. IOC spokesperson Mark Adams said it will be up to the Japanese authorities.
From the IOC point of view, it won't surprise you to know that we will follow entirely the advice of the Japanese health authorities on that. Of course, it breaks everyone's heart that there are no spectators, but health and safety are number one priority.
Meanwhile, television coverage of the Tokyo 2020 Games by the official Olympic broadcaster will focus only on athletes' performances and adopt a more gender-neutral approach to filming that may have been the case in the past.
What we can do is to make sure that our coverage does not highlight or feature in any particular way what people are wearing and whether these, the clothes that they're wearing, whether they highlight any particular elements of the body that have to do with stereotypes. So you will not see in our coverage some things that we have been seeing in the past, with details and close-up in parts of the body or elements that really speak about sexuality or any other type of stereotyping of gender.
Well, that's it for sports. My name is Phil Jonkwote. Back to Crosby and Ifia for the rest of the news, gentlemen.
Phil, thank you so much for bringing us sports. I'm interested in the Ghanaian guy who has been able to progress.
Yes,
what are the chances of Ghana in the Olympics?
Well, I think the boxers stand the chance of winning medals because when it comes to the Olympics, remember that Ghana's first medal at Olympic Games was won by, strangely, it was Akwati Senior. And that was about in 1966 or so. Ghana won the first medal at Olympic Games through boxing. And ever since Ghana has won, I think the last time we won even a medal was in 1992. And that's when we won the last medal at the Olympic Games. But hey, Ghana's chances of making an Olympic Games depends solely, if I have to say so, majority on the boxers to make it proud.
Phil, thank you. Thank you for sport. You're back with more stories.
We are one man short. Should we invite him?
Yeah.
It be old cargo.
Can I join you guys?
Yeah.
Always drink fresh, natural, mix, mineral, water.
Still got it. Always keep hydrated naturally. That's my secret.
Manufactured with the primary aim of preserving nature's finest minerals necessary for a healthy mind and body. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
You're welcome back to NEWSNIGHT. It's now time to bring you the very latest in the world of showbiz, and Harriet is here. Hello, Harry.
Hi, Ethia. You're always looking good, I must say.
Thank you. Yourself?
Well, Kofi Mole is in the news, but there's more after this. Popular Ghanaian hip-hop artist Kofi Mole has criticized the legislature for choosing to tackle LGBTQ+ issues instead of attending to more pressing needs in the country.
The case that some members of parliament are championing the passage of LGBTQ+ bill, which seeks to incriminate homosexual menace in the country. The likes of Ningo Pampram MP, Sam George, Ras Mubarak and Medina MP, Francis Xavier Sosu, have engaged in a series of social media banters with other personalities over the passage of the LGBTQ+ bill in the country. Sharing his thoughts on the subject, Kofi Mole, who appears disappointed about the manner in which LGBTQ issues have been given prominence over more important issues in the country, said, "If you compare this LGBT issue with other pressing issues in the country, you would realize that there are weightier ones which need urgent attention. I think there are other issues that if we give our maximum attention will help a lot of people more than this LGBT stuff." It can be recalled that some celebrities, including Sister Debbie, Kobirana, One Love, the Kobolo, and many others, have spoken against what they have termed as ill treatment meted out to LGBTQ members in the country. Sister Debbie, in particular, was caught in a long-lasting fight with Ningo Pampam MP Sam George on Twitter over the passage of the LGBTQ+ bill.
Well, Ghanaian artist and illustrator Seta Fiajigbe has been selected by Marvel Entertainment to work on Black Panther comic. The mini-series comic seeks to inspire young viewers around the world and add new elements to T'Challa classic origin.
Seta Fiajigbe is an artist and illustrator who loves telling visual stories. He has provided art for the Game Day Early Readers book series, Handbirds, written by ballerina Misty Copeland, as well as storyboards, character design, and comic production. Marvel Entertainment is working on a 4-issue series that tells the story of how T'Challa of Wakanda became the Black Panther in a way never seen before. Seta Fiajigbe will be the illustrator for this comic, which is geared towards middle-grade readers, inspiring young viewers around the world and add new elements to T'Challa's classic origin. For Marvel senior editor Lauren Bison, Seta Fiajigbe joins the Marvel team with his beautiful painterly style that exudes energy in every textured stroke. We knew right away that Seta would be the perfect artist to help bring T'Challa's early adventures to life. Having a picture book background where we've seen him incorporate panels in such unique ways alongside his more traditional sequential stories, we knew Seta's art would be both sophisticated as well as accessible to readers who might be picking this up as their first comic. There really isn't another Marvel comic that looks quite like this one well. Bison made this revelation at the launch of Marvel comic new origin story series, The Black Panther Legends.
Well, that's it for entertainment news on Newsnight. My name is Harriet Addy. Over to Afia and Crosby for the rest of the news.
Harriet, thanks so much for entertainment. It's now time for news across the Ghanaian border. On the foreign front, kidnappers who raided a boarding school in northern Nigeria earlier this month released 28 children on Sunday, July 25, but another 81 remain in captivity, according to a pastor involved in the negotiations for their release.
The attack on the Bethel Baptist High School in the state of Kaduna was a 10th mass school kidnapping since December in northwest Nigeria, carried out by Islamist militants and more recently criminal gangs.
It's okay.
They don't want it. That is how little they are.
And that's all time to allow for this edition of Newsnight on Metro Television. As always, we came to you from the Kia Boahima studio here at Northridge in Accra. My name is Efia Fosua.
My name is Noble Crosby, and coming up next is The Bottom Line with Emmanuel Akwesi-Afriye. Keep watching.
Metro TV, inside